Hello, my name is Starlight. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and I'm reaching out to all of you beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight is, and look at this. You see behind me, and come on, put all the excuses away. I don't have time. Well, make time, you don't want to go out by yourself. You gotta let that fear go, and come on, if I can do it being a female, I've done this all the way from New York to here, you can do it. Bring your family, your friends. Don't forget if you have a dog, but make sure you bring plenty of water, a bowl for your dog, not the kids, and make sure you bring baggies, for the dog, not the kids. Well, you can use those too, but make sure you bring those bags with your dog. That way you don't leave shit around for other people to walk in, right? So, because you can't always count on the parks and the trails to have doggy bags. That's why you got to be the one to bring those out. And if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome. And you can find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight. And that is Kathy with a K, Dingman, Starlight. And you can also give this video a thumbs up. And you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, don't be afraid, don't be shy. Swing by and say hi to Starlight. And you can leave me a message down below, beep, beep, beep. Plus, Starlight is giving you permission. You could share my videos with your family, your friends, a cougar, a leopard, and don't forget my playlist. Plus, you can follow me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman, Starlight. So don't mind Starlight, she's a little bit out of breath. But before I start this video, I want to say thank you, all of you, who are loving and supporting me, and thank you for the ones that have been with me from the beginning and the ones that are new. Thank you so much. And those of you that give me thumbs up or even subscribe to my YouTube channel or even leaves me a message. So I love getting messages. So I never know what I'm gonna get, but I read them all. So thank you so much, all of you. And now today I decided, because I was climbing up this hill, okay, we're gonna have fun. So you're gonna hear Starlight huffing and puffing, but on this video it's about how the matrix is, and there's levels to this, so this is not a easy thing in this 3D reality. Is that we are in a stimulation in a 3D reality, a third dimensional reality, but it's an illusion. We are like in a stimulation. And so I decided to make this video because I'm climbing up these hills and stairs. So here we go. I don't want to get you dizzy. Is when you are on this in this reality, we've been all lied to, and so all of us have struggled one way or another. And so I'm doing this like this video here because there's levels. Is just like a video game, is that, you think something's tough right now. Well, you know what? The universe has got something more later on for you. And there's times at Starlight, it's kind of weird. I've been gathering keys all over the place in different areas, and I'm like, there's a key, just like a kind of weird. This is my experience for knowing that we're in a 3D, an illusion, like a stimulation. So Starlight has been gathering different things on this journey and in this matrix stimulation. So on this video is that there's layers to this shit, that you gotta go through life, and you're gonna have challenges, and it's like a video game. You got challenges that you gotta face, problems that you gotta solve. And there's time, and on this, just like a video game, you're going to be gathering information, downloads, just like a video game. So, and this is why I'm climbing up this hill here, is because you're going to hear Starlight huffing and puffing all the way up. Is that this is what it's really like, really. I was down at the lower level, and this doesn't get easier. This hill gets harder until you get all the way up the top. So just like a mountain is, in life, you know what? Don't relax too much. And that is what trips a lot of people up, is that, they get done with something and they sit down and they relax, but you're not done yet. The game is not done. We are in a game. This is a game of life. And so, you know what? Because once you get relaxed, it could pull you back. It could pull you back and it could get you stuck. So you got to be really sharp and wise on this third dimensional reality, in the matrix of stimulation. Is you always got to push yourself forward, and life is going to throw some shit in your way, and you got to get, you're going to have storms, you're going to have tornadoes, you're going to have all these different kind of things that you got to deal with on this journey, and you can't give up. You got to stay focused on your goals and all your plans that you have in your life. And because, when you think, okay, I got something, I completed something, guess what? You're going to have another thing that you got to complete. And I already went up this hill already today, so I noticed the first time I came up here, Starlight was huffing and puffing. I had to take some breaks because this starts you right up on the hill and all these stairs. And these stairs are great for leg muscle. But this is how it is, this trail here is, it gives you a little bit of break. And then you got, look at this, see? Now, when I first started, there was a set of stairs. And then it got a little easy. And then some more stairs. But look how many stairs I got to climb now. And that is like the way this matrix is that each level you got more stuff to face. So that's why it's so important that you don't get distracted and that you don't like go to the parties and do all that, and that's why you got to be sharp like a knife, and realize that there's going to be people that are going to come in your life, and it could be a distraction to pull you away. Starlight has been, last night I went to a park and I said, you know what, I need to, I was there doing my yoga, doing other things like my meditations or whatever, and there was a lot of people in a little park, and that was only Friday. And today, being Saturday, it's too many people. And this is what you got to guard yourself is, you got to know yourself well enough to you could easily get pulled backwards in life. And so you got to be careful the kind of people that you have in your circle. And Starlight has been staying to herself because guess what I'm learning? You can't trust anyone, so I could trust God, and I do have a friend that I've been getting to know a long time. Not just a friend, he's more than a friend, but it took years to build that relationship, so you just can't just assume because people are friendly out in public that they're out for your greatest good. So you do have to be cautious, and just because people smile and they give you compliments, it doesn't mean that they're good company. So you do have to be mindful on this game here, that we're the game of life. See, right now I had all those stairs and now it's like flat. This is where Starlight can take a breather, but this is how life is that, there's times that you're going to struggle and you're going to have things that come in your life, and then, then it's like, okay, things are not so bad. But you got to really be sharp in life, and you got to pay attention to everything that's going around you, and not to get sucked in by people or things, like even going places. So Starlight's really mindful of where she spends her time, so Starlight is really staying to herself. I will talk to people, but I keep my distance, in this game is that there are layers. Like right now, Starlight's like, oh, now I gotta push myself, harder to get up this, especially when you're doing the stairs, it's really much harder to do the stairs than just walk on a flat. So in life, you can't give up. Only give up on people that are not there loving and supporting you. So be careful the kind of people that you want to call friends, or, I do know somebody, I don't really know her, but on my YouTube channel, she's, learning that people are wearing masks. So you have to be mindful, that most people are wearing a mask, and you got to be careful on this game, just like a video game. What's underneath the mask? Who really are they? Who are these people? So, and that is why last night Starlight was in the park, and it was the time that on a Friday night, that's when they're around a certain time, that's when people want to start drinking and start listening to their music. And Starlight's like, you know what? It's time for me to get out of here. It's time. I was here long enough, and you got to be really sharpened on this game of life here. And not everything is what you think is real. And this reality is we've been lied to. So you really have to deprogram everything that you learn. Since, like your parents brought you up because they were lied to. And so Starlight actually has to listen to her body. Her body says, Starlight, you need a drink. And so this is another part of this game, is to, like what I'm doing right now, is called self-love. It's saying, okay, I got this hill, and my body is saying, Starlight, you need a drink. So I knew I was going to do this. So that is what you got to do, is you got to listen to your body. Even in the Matrix here, is you got to take really good care of yourself. I got to say that again. You got to take really good care of yourself. If you don't do these things in the right order, in the game of life, like God first, you next, and that means, whatever God is telling you, in your intuition, your gut, or if you prayed about something, asking for guidance, and God guides and directs you somewhere, you got to listen to what God wants you to do. You cannot go wrong when God tells you to do something. So you got to be careful the kind of people you listen to, and you should be number one after God. So that means you got to take care of all your needs. Make sure you're taking good, because this is how God is. God loves us so much that God will be on you if you're not taking good care of your health. You got to take good care of your health. Sorry if I'm moving, my Starlight's just trying to get her backpack on here. So that is one of the most important things, is because how are you going to get through the game of life if you're not taking care of your health? So, and there's going to be challenges. You're going to be pulled. You're going to, this happens so many times with Starlight. So you always have to think, okay, what is the most important thing that I should do? There's going to be many times on the game of life that you're going to have so many choices, and you're like, oh, I don't know. What, like I can either go help my friend out, or listen to God, or take care of my needs. Now, what one do you think you should take care of first? And there's going to be many times that things are going to happen so fast, and you're not going to have a lot of time to figure it out. You got to be quick, okay, God first, me, and then my friend, so, and you got to be there for those that love and support you, and don't forget them, because you're going to need them, to help you to get through, and that you can help them to get through. And it's not all one-sided. It's to help each other through this game of life. So you're there to love and support each other, and you're there through thick and thin. So if you have somebody like that, you got to be there for them like they are for you. And that is the way this game of life is that the ones that are loving, supporting you, keep them close. And it actually, in the Bible, it says to keep your enemies. it's good to know I don't have any enemies, so I don't even need to worry about any enemies because I don't have any. If somebody has a problem with starlight, it's not my problem, it's theirs. And look see, now this is a great example now. Whew. Starlight's got to take a breather. See, now I got to listen to myself because I'm climbing, but look at the stairs. You know, Starlight's going to backtrack a little bit here. So they start here, and this is how the game of life works, folks, is, now I got to get all the way up there. So Starlight's got to listen to her body, which says, Starlight, you need a drink. And on the game of life, there's going to be times that, you're going to be working on things, and we're all going to have challenges, all different kind of challenges. It could be family member that has health issues, or you could have health issues. So these are all things that you got to watch out for and be mindful about, because sometimes with this matrix is that with the matrix, it could use somebody that you really love and care for, and to try to get you to take your attention off yourself and to put it on people that aren't even there loving and supporting you. So sometimes it seems like a really mean thing to do, but you know what? Who are you going to pick? Take care of a family member or a friend that aren't there loving and supporting you? Or listen to God, which God says, you got to obey me, do what I need you to do and what I'm directing you to do. Then you take care of yourself, and then your closest ones. Then, the ones after that. So there's going to be times that if you don't do things in the right order, bam, you're going to have a lot to learn. And look at this. This is just another good example. These are tree roots and stuff like that. So you got to watch out. See, I could trip and fall on this game. So you got to watch your step, watch where you're walking. Make sure you keep your eyes open. And it's really important to learn how to get your third eye open. That way you're not being deceived by your two eyes, because really the third eye is the one that you really want to get open, because it's going to see through the shit. Starlight has been learning some things lately, and I'm like, wow, now, my psychic abilities are popping, where I'm actually to sense things before they happen. That way, or you get signs from the universe to let you know, about different things. Like paying attention to your dreams. These are tools that God gave us, and you don't want to ignore them. Like if you get a dream, you really need to write it down and study. What does it mean? If you don't know how to study, I have videos on my YouTube channel that how to have a dream study, have a dream journal. So you really need to pay attention to your dreams and the signs that the universe gives you on this journey of life, on this game of life, because if you go in this world on this journey and you're blind and you can't see, well, a lot of things are going to happen, and you're not going to get those signs to let you know, hey, you're around a toxic person right now, and you're like, because Starlight gets these kind of dreams. I'm around a toxic person, and then I'm going to think, okay, who have I been hanging out with? See, now Starlight finally got up to the top here, but look, I'm not all the way up to the top. This is where Starlight was earlier today. Every time you think you're done completing something, there's another thing that you got to complete. And I'm only on one hiking trail here, that brings you up to a top. And so there's so many other hills, and it's other challenges and other things. And the more you go through this, the more you're going to learn about the truth that, things that you always thought was true you're going to find out, oh my, I thought that was always the truth. I thought I knew, what that meant. And then you're going to find out as you go through the game of life how bad we've been programmed and lied to. And then whoops, sorry, Starlight has got to put her backpack down here. Now Starlight just finished one piece of this video game here, the game of life. And look at, wow, all the hard work that I've done, all the temptations that was put in my way to take me off my path, all the people that came to me trying to pull me away and try to get me to focus on them instead of myself, all the distractions where I could have been distracted and not to work on myself, all the lies that that I've been told, where I had to really figure out what is the truth, all the things through this game of life is when you get done with a game, look at, now I get to, on the top of this mountain here, is that I get to get rewarded. Rewards will come to you in the game of life. God will reward you when you do things the way we're supposed to, in the order that we're supposed to do things. So this is my reward tonight, I had to climb up that mountain, and that's how life is, that we gotta keep our focus. I could have fell on that trail, I could have tripped, I did listen to my body, I did take a break when I needed it, so these are things that you have to pay attention to, because each game, when you finish it, you're gonna learn different things that you've been lied to, and a lot of times it's your family was lied to, so they might have told you stuff. Then you're gonna find out, like, oh, the school system lied to you, so you gotta really pay attention to what is going on in your reality, because it is the game of life. It's not no joke. This is a really real deal. So when you're on this journey of the game of life, you're gonna have so many challenges, so many temptations. For you single men and women out there, you might be searching for love and not working on yourself, or being too busy that you don't even have time for a relationship. All those things are things that you have to get through and learn to, to have a good relationship. If you're too busy to even have time for one, then that's something that you got to fix. That's something that you got to work on, because God has everything in a certain order. And if you don't do things the way God really has it all set up, then it's going to trip up. It's like everything else, it's like a domino effect, when you're not doing what God wants you to do and the order that God has picked out, like that certain order, it could slow you down. It could put you, back at the beginning of the hill again, where now you didn't learn your lessons, you didn't take care of yourself, you didn't focus on your, God first, then yourself. You got distracted, you got lonely, you felt like you needed people, and then you got around people, and then you trusted them again, when you shouldn't trust them until you get to build up a relationship enough to know who they are. And it takes time. So it is not an easy journey. So Starlight made it up quicker this time than the first time. But I wanted to bring you out here because this is a beautiful view out here that Starlight wants to go to that island there. I don't even know what the heck that is. But this is the reward when you finish one game. God has got abundance. God has got all these things, what your heart's desire. You could be one step closer to love, in a relationship, where you started off, you might have just been friends. And the more levels that you go onto this 3D matrix stimulation is, you're going to get closer to the things that you really desire. And it does take patience. It does take time. So, and that's another lesson on this game, is it does take time. It doesn't happen overnight. So you got to be careful the kind of people you listen to, because if they don't know what's going on, they could easily trip you up, and it will put you back at the beginning of this trail, and then you got to start all over because you took advice from somebody that didn't know what they were talking about. And so it is wise that you got to listen to, get in contact with God, number one. Ask God, ask God, ask God. Yes, ask God. Ask God for help, ask God for guidance, ask God for clarity, ask God for, strength, whatever it is. I don't know what you need, but you should know what you need. Do you need money? You can ask God, like, I need help. Don't be afraid. Put your pride down and ask God for help, because, you think it's easy for Starlight. Starlight always has to ask, and I'll tell you what, God has been there. As long as I do what I'm supposed to do in the order that I'm supposed to do it, bam, it is much easier to receive things from God. But if you don't obey God and you think you're going to do it your way, and you don't want to listen to what God has to say to how you're going to get that abundance, then it's going to be a rough and it's going to be a hard, not saying that God's not going to help you out, but God wants you to learn your lesson is that you got to do things in the right order. And the right order is God number one, and yourself is second. And after that, it's the closest ones to you. Like if you're married or if you got kids, those are the ones that you want dear to you, the ones that are loving and supporting you. If they're not loving and supporting you and being there when you need them, then those are the kind of people that you really want to let go of, because they're just going to trip you up. Anyway, Starlight loves you so much. And yeah, so this is a beautiful night out here, and to be able to feel this breeze, and I love you so much. So don't forget, you are in the game of life. This is not a joke. You are in a matrix stimulation, and this game here is a hard game, and there's levels to this shit, and that's what we're doing on this hill here tonight. Is there's levels. It's not an easy game to play, but if you go by the rules, you can actually win this game of life. And anyway, I love you so much, and this is Starlight. You can give this video a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, you can also, don't forget to leave me a message down below, beep, beep, beep. And you can also find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. I love you so much, so don't give up. And this is just a game of life. It's not it's a stimulation, and everything that you think is real is not as real as you think. I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace.